Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tutorials, and today we're going to show you a couple of new directives in AngularJS. Now, these directives are things you might be using all the time to show and hide content, one of which is ngIf, and one of which is ngShow or ngHide. So we're going to be showing you what the difference between show and hide or ngIf actually is. So to do that, we have this toggle names that we have this show names button coming up, and it basically turns on the names here. But what we really need to do is turn this into some sort of a toggle. So to do that, I'm going to show and hide buttons that say show names and hide names based on what the state currently is. So let's come to our HTML and let's go ahead and add another button here. We had show names. This is going to be simply hide names. And what we want to do is have this ngClick set the toggle to false. Okay, now if we come back, we have both buttons. We can click show names, they show up. We can click hide names and they go away, just like that. Okay, but you know, clicking show names while the names are there and clicking hide names while they're not is really just sort of not something you want to have available to your user. So you don't want to have a control that doesn't do anything at that given time, right? Now what we want to do is show these based on the toggle value. Now in the last video we showed you how to do that using ngClass, where we were just toggling a class of hidden. Now let's check out some other approaches, okay? Now on our first button, we can say ngIf equals. Now for ngIf, we can just put quotes in here, and inside of these quotes, we're gonna pass it this value. And the value is going to be dir list.toggle. Okay, so let's see what this does. Let's come to our page and refresh. You'll now see that the show names button isn't showing up at all. Okay, so we're saying only show if this value is true. But because it's false, the button's not showing up. So by default, we want to have an exclamation point in front of this for show names. So now the button's going to show up as long as the names are being hidden. Now for the hide names button, we want to have the exact opposite. Because this is a toggle, we want ngIf. If this value is false, then don't show the name hide names because the name's already hidden. Okay, let's refresh. You can now see we have this show names button. You can click it, and now we just have the hide names button. You can click it, show names, hide names, show names. Perfect. Let's actually check out our HTML over here and our inspect, and let's see what's going on. So as you can see, what's really interesting about this is in this class approach that we did before with these items to show and hide them, when they're hidden, let's click hide. In the HTML, it's still there. It's just this class of hidden is display none. However, watch this area right here where it says button show names. When we click this show names button, it disappears. So ngIf isn't just adding a class to something that hides it. It's actually removing it from the DOM entirely and replacing it or adding it to the DOM entirely. So you can see there's a little comment here that says ngIf. So it's just letting you know based on this comment that there is something there with this toggle. And even the one that's visible has that same thing. Watch as I click this again. Again, the DOM has changed. Okay, so that's ngIf. Now we also have directives ngShow and ngHide to show and hide things. Let's check out what those do. So we can say ngShow if this is equals to true. So in this case, we want this variable to equate to true for this variable to show, and we're accomplishing that with this exclamation point once more. So ngShow and ngIf are going to act the exact same way. So we can just change this ng-if to ng-show. Now if they act the same way, what's the difference? Well, now let's take a look at our DOM. Look right here, we have two buttons, okay? And I'm clicking, they're still showing and hiding each other just like we wanted them to. However, both the buttons exist in the DOM, and you'll notice that we have a class of ng-hide. So remember in the last video when we made our own class of hidden and applied this to this URL? Well, we actually didn't have to do that because this is the exact function of ngShow and ngHide, right? So it's adding a class already for us, and let's actually see that class. I'm going to close the terminal there, and let's scroll up. You can see it gives it a display none important. So it's going to override whatever you have. So we didn't actually have to do our previous example with ngClass, just with ngShow and hide. Because it's a feature that, you're probably going to do more often. You don't have to write it every single time. So Angular gives you the option of doing ngShow and ngHide. Now we also have the option to have ngHide instead of ngShow here. Okay, now if we go to ngHide again, okay, and refresh, you'll notice that we have the opposite. The hide names button is showing up even though the names aren't showing. So for this particular instance, we would have to swap and say like this. If this is true, then hide this button. Since this is going to be false, it's going to show it. And likewise, the exact opposite for our second button. If we come here again, refresh, show names, hide names, show names, hide names. Perfect. Cool. So that's ngShow, ngHide, and ngIf are all different ways of hiding and showing things. You can see that these two are just adding a class like we did in the previous video. ngIf is removing and adding things to the DOM. So these are directives you'll find yourself using all the time. As always, this is Scott with Level Up Tutorials. If you have any questions or comments, leave a comment in the video or hit us up at Twitter or Facebook at Level Up Tutorials. We love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.